Are we on? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Microphone check. Lights. Cameras.
This is swanky. This is lifestyle. This is culture. Welcome to the social center of everything culture. Culture Daily.
Check 9:03 already here. Gone until 10 a.m. on Culture Daily's big conversation, a great part of the show that most of you definitely enjoy. And don't forget, catch a repeat tonight at 10 p.m. You don't want to miss the conversations here on the show. Once again, let me say a big shout out going out to Sister Derby. Yesterday she was live in the studio, giving some insights into the other side of her life. In case you didn't know, go and check out on our YouTube. The video is there. Still on the show, before we jump into today's conversation, it's going to be very, very interesting because we are crossing borders. I'm just reminding you that Live Resto Lounge is still serving hot, delicious food for you this morning, afternoon, and evening. And today is their Halloween celebration. You want to be there as well tonight from 6 p.m. Go looking scary, but the meals are just absolutely good. You don't want to miss out on that one. Call 0201-337766 now to experience Live Resto Lounge. Like they say, eat hot, eat good. And a quick reminder as well that Betway is now the official Arsenal betting partner. So Betway is bringing you way more with the all-new fun exclusive page. So just place any bet on Arsenal and you stand a chance to win exciting monthly prizes from a range of Arsenal jerseys to memorabilia and more. Not only that, you also stand a chance to win the once in a lifetime play on the pitch experience, and this offer is going on up until the 31st of January 2025, and that's when the competition ends. It's exclusive to Betway. Terms and conditions apply. Regulated by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Bet the responsible way. Betway, get way more. Quick reminder as well that there's a 50% scholarship availability for you if you offer a degree program at Lancaster University, Ghana. It is the only British university campus in West Africa. So hurry. It's a British degree at a fraction of the cost and a vibrant student experience in a community that will equip you with useful employability skills and also takes you a step closer to the career of your dreams. Just go to lancaster.edu.gh, or you can also contact them via email, admissions@lancaster.edu.gh, and call them 0209 60 70 08. Easy does it. I'll tell you more about President as the show goes on. But this morning, we are honored to have our visitors live in GH. Shall I say for the very first time?
First time for me.
First time for you.
Second time.
Yeah. Okay, welcome again. Akio and Anita, welcome. Yeah. Okay, so second time visit to Ghana. Again, you're welcome. First time visit to Ghana.
Yep. First time in the region.
Let's say, should we say West Africa entirely? Yep. Oh, then you're welcome to our side. And like there's a greeting that we say Akwaba. It is the most common. I don't know, has anybody mentioned that to you yet?
Yes.
Not yet. Not to me. Maybe they did, maybe not. I just wasn't paying attention.
How would I say that in Afrikaan or in
So in South Africa,
welcome would be
I mean, we don't have like an explicit welcome, but you know, like hello, you might say like Sawubona is hello in Zulu.
Okay.
Sawubona. Yeah. You might say hola, which is kind of more hi, like a chilled hola.
Hola.
Yeah. It's like hola, but it's got an H.
Oh.
Yeah.
Hola.
Yeah. And then the response to hola is eta.
Eta.
Yeah. So hola, eta.
I'm keeping that. Putting that in my t-shirt. Yeah. You like Sabona. You can keep that one. Hola. Ota.
Eta.
Yeah. I'm taking that. Welcome again. It's good to have you in GH. I know it's going to be a good time, a great time, but let's drill down to what you do, who you are, and everything. Let's introduce you properly to our Ghanaian fan base here. So, must have been a good flight, so let me welcome you that one, to GH. So we've got Anita. You are a multidisciplinary freelance creative.
Yes.
That's the tagline.
Yes.
That's the title. I like that. I'm going to drill down into that. Akio is a DJ, so well-renowned class DJ. So welcome to GH. We're going to feel some jams with you later on, right? Yeah. Definitely. What brings you both to Ghana?
So we are the owners of a brand called Strictly Soul.
Okay.
It is currently Africa's largest R&B party. We are in now, what,
You guys are
8
late.
countries?
8 countries, 11
8 countries, 11 cities, including obviously South Africa, Joburg, Durban, Cape Town, Windhoek in Namibia, Gaborone in Botswana, Dar es Salaam in Tanzania, Kigali in Rwanda, Nairobi in Kenya, Kampala in Uganda, and now Accra in Ghana as of tomorrow.
Your life is lit.
Very lit.
Wait. Drill it down. Tell me all about this this music group you have. What happens? What is it? Take me to the details.
Cool. So it's basically a celebration of R&B music. We started this in 2020, but I've been DJing for a while, so I was part of like the hip hop movement in South Africa, which is like the golden era of modern hip hop, which is like 2011 to about 2017. And right around 2017, I was starting to shift into a lot of R&B. So I was thinking, why can't we do a party of just R&B, right? So 3 years, I kind of kept it on ice, and then COVID happened, so we kind of shut everything down. And at the same time, that's when Amapiano just kind of wiped out hip hop inside, everything. So at that point, I was like, okay, let me do something different. There's this R&B thing that I've been wanting to do. Nobody's doing it. Like, we had done our research. Like, nobody was doing an R&B party. It was just something that was opening sets. You know what I'm saying? You could play it at the beginning of the night at the club.
Or Sunday afternoon.
Or Sunday afternoon. We saw that like the only people that were doing like a soul session were like our aunties on a Sunday, and they were playing like stuff from the 80s.
Oh, okay. So it happens in SA too, man.
Yeah, Soul
Sundays,
Sundays,
Sundays, yeah.
So we were, so our idea was like, all right, but can we make this lit? Why can't we do R&B in the main set? Why can't we have girls twerking on tables to R&B? It's possible. So we started, so we started the party. That's the vision. The other thing was like, let's make a party for girls, like our thing was very much having like a femme focus in terms of like everything that we want to do for the party. And so when we started in 2020, it was like, there was nothing like it, you know what I'm saying? And we really had like a really solid following, and then as it grew, people wanted to see something different, feel something different, and then at that point, we looked at all the other places across the continent.
So wait, R&B catalog of music like from?
So we do everything. So again, I want to like express, when we started this party in 2020, there was no R&B parties like on the continent. Now it's become a thing within the last like about a year. Like as we've grown, as our social media has grown, and as we've gone to countries, people have been like, oh, this actually works. And then places that we haven't gone have been like, yo, we got to do this here, So one of the things that we really try and separate ourselves is on the range.
Okay.
So there's a couple things that we do. We are not an old school party. That's first and foremost.
We're
not an old school party.
Yeah, because I was going to ask, when you said R&B first, I was going to ask if you were focused on, you taking me back to them. With the likes of Joe Thomas and co-fall in R&B,
Yeah, Joe Thomas is definitely, he's 90s R&B. He's that classic like stuff from, Joe Thomas is great, but for our
and he's huge in South Africa as well.
I went to his concert. He killed it. He's still doing his thing at 50.
Yeah, I had a girl leave his guy because of Joe Thomas' concert in Ghana. Yeah. It was really sad.
Joe Thomas is Mr. Steal Your Girl.
She chose Joe Thomas' concert over a dinner date that they had.
Concert.
I mean, to be honest, would you not also choose a Joe Thomas concert?
Of course, any day, any time.
I mean, true.
But at the end of it, what we're saying is our focus is all of the ways that R&B can manifest, right? So there's obviously the old school that most of us, millennials and stuff grew up on. But, there's so much great R&B being made currently as well as on the continent. There's just so much interesting contemporary R&B.
It's quite interesting you say R&B interest has grown and then people are really making it to these parts. Because I thought we had a crazy interest in Afro beats and Amapiano that like Essay just spread the virus, Amapiano virus across the continent. So it's quite strange to hear that R&B is like it has people have interest, and not even old school R&B but new school R&B as well.
So I think one of the things to keep in mind is like also with Amapiano, everybody loves it, but it's also saturated, you know what I'm saying? And then even Afro beats was really, really strong. So, every club, a lot of places had Afro beats nights, sections of Afro beats. So again, with R&B, it's, we're very much focused at the time on something that was considered alternative, something niche. But at the same time, we knew, like based on Spotify streaming numbers, like Africa is one of the biggest listeners of R&B in the world.
South Africa is top 3 R&B listenership in the world.
Wow.
Yeah. So nobody's really focused on that. And it's also about how people didn't understand how to turn it into a party. And again, for us, it's like, the Brent Fayez's, the SZA's, the Summer Walkers, that's just as important to us on the R&B music scale as the Aaliyah's, Mariah's, Chris Brown's, anything like that. So we like to keep it fresh.
On this area, like it's like a cool place to just get in there because clearly nobody was doing anything about it.
Like a nice music oasis.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the thing is, and we know that people are listening to R&B at home. So, one of the things that we really like about our events is, especially with the opening set, I know, I suspect that Ghanaians, people who come late to the party.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not really.
We have something called the Ghana Man time. It's a special time on the clock, that we attend things. So do not expect us early in the places.
Okay.
For sure.
And with everything, it takes a while before we get there. But when we get there, we hold
Eventually. So for me, my favorite set of the night is the early set because, that's quite a chilled B-sides, deep cuts, like set of the night. And you hear music there that you will absolutely not hear anywhere else. We're not talking about the big bangers, the Rihannas, the Beyoncés, the ones that you might actually hear elsewhere. Yeah. These are the tracks that you didn't even really realize other people adored. I once heard Kelly Price, As We Lay, in that early set, and was reminded of how much I absolutely adore that track. And that's what Strictly Soul, what we try to be about is that like appreciation of R&B music like in your core.
Yeah, we do a very strong musical build. And there's like also one other thing I really want to emphasize about Strictly Soul, and that is like we celebrate R&B across the continent as well. So one of the big things that we try and do is we try and champion African R&B as well. So we, again, when we talk about what our range of R&B is, we consider a lot of Afro beats to be R&B. So a lot of it, kind of mixes in. You can't really do like a full hour Afro beat set, but like we want you to do, slip in 15, 20 minutes. And then another thing that we really want is like one of the things I tell the DJs that when I come to the country, we always have guest DJs. I'm like, play R&B and like music from your region, from your area. We don't want it to just be US, UK R&B. Like play things that I don't know. And some of the biggest responses you get from the audience is when you play stuff locally. Absolutely. So I play a lot of like South African R&B. I've started to learn like the R&B from other regions as well. But again, man, it's like you can't be. Yeah.
How has this intentionality amplified South African R&B? When you encourage such.
Well, I think from our side, it's shown within like our partnerships with like BET Africa, Spotify. We're the only R&B event that has these type of partnerships with these streaming platforms and these media platforms. And again, it's like, for example, with Spotify, they want us to be pushing new music, and if we're just pushing stuff from the '90s and early 2000s, we're not pushing new artists. We're not being progressive. And our thing is, again, we want to be the tastemakers for R&B on the continent. We want to be championing R&B artists from the continent. So we've been mixing in some live performances. We're trying to do more international concerts. But again, it can't just be a party. If you're gonna be about R&B, you got to be about the artists too.
Yeah, it's quite interesting how you. Okay, so you're gonna say.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, we're trying to culture build.
So I mean, it's quite interesting how you found, because for a minute I didn't even think that. Wait, is that R&B locally produced? Yes, and one or two artists are doing it in Africa, but there might not be that much of an amplification for them, because the whole terminology R&B doesn't sit with us. It didn't come from our end as Africans, But music now is global, so everybody can just easily just flip around and use and turn what another person is doing to make it yours. Now I want to find out, when you start talking about these R&B parties in the countries you're going to, what is the feedback like? I want a practical example. So you moved from South Africa. What was your next destination before you even
First one was Botswana.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that was mostly because
not too far off.
Yes.
Yeah, it
was a 4-hour drive. From Johannesburg to Gaborone. So it was easy for us. It wasn't overly complicated, and we knew, obviously this was very early on. We had a very small following at that stage. This was just, the local promoter had been to our events and was like, this is something I think we can do. And so that was our first kind of foray into...
Then the reactions there in Botswana, how did that go?
It was good. Like, it was early on. We did a Sunday, which we generally do not do. We're anti-Sundays. Just because, again, it falls... No, we're like, for us, we're a Friday or Saturday night party.
We don't want people thinking about work the next day.
Keep the Sabbath day holy.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it was cool. Like, I think outside of that, then I'd say the first real big test was Dar es Salaam, Tanzania.
Oh, okay.
So that was when we really went to a completely different region. But that being said, I'd been going there for 3 years. So you remember when COVID happened in Tanzania, the president was like, "Yo, we prayed it away. It doesn't exist here." So there was
They had zero restrictions.
Yeah, so there was no restrictions. So back then, like, you know, we had curfew, we had social distancing, all those things. I would go to Tanzania whenever we shut down in South Africa, and it was just like 2019. So I had established like a presence as a DJ there for a while. I'd gotten a good following. I knew other clubs. So for the first 2 years of Strictly Soul, I'd go there just to DJ, and I'm like, yo, I got this R&B party. You know, I want to bring it to Dar es Salaam, and everybody there told me it'll never work. Nobody wants to party to R&B.
To be very honest, if I have to just do the final course, I was just saying to myself that, are you sure about this? You know,
This is the response we've gotten in almost every territory we've entered.
Hold it right there. He's a man with the numbers. Only I'm too surprised to hear that R&B is like, you know, Africa or South Africa is like top 3 in the world.
No, actually, I'm not.
You're not surprised?
When I went to South Africa, I noticed that even though Amapiano was
in every shop, every bar, every taxi,
R&B seems to be the base of most of the music consumption.
It's true. It's in South Africa. It's what people listen to in their car, at home. If they have friends over, whatever it is.
Yeah.
If they're choosing the music, they're playing R&B.
Yeah. Straight up.
But that's distinctively South Africa.
Yeah.
I think everywhere has a love for R&B because of the way R&B is. It talks to so many different types of emotions. But for us, obviously coming from South Africa, it's, you know, it was something that was such an obviously untapped market.
And just a side note, Boyz II Men just went on tour like last year. They sold out every single city in Africa. You know what I'm saying? You telling me Chris Brown can't fill up a stadium in every city in Africa? Like it's big.
So there's value. Do you think for a minute we got distracted maybe with Amapiano?
Absolutely. I even think so. You know, even in South Africa. So I grew up in Johannesburg, and growing up, there were so many different types of house music that South Africans adored. Like, you know, there's the party house music, there's the chilled house, there's just all of these variations. Even all of that got steamrolled by Amapiano. Well, Gqom first and then Amapiano, because Gqom was, 2018, 2019, and then that rolled over into Amapiano. And like, there are even like deep house parties. There's like a whole market there that's still not being tapped by the local people.
What's the thin line? I mean, it's not R&B, but what's the thin line between the deep house and Amapiano itself?
It's the development of the beat. You know, you got the log drum. It hits a little bit harder. House is a little bit smoother, especially deep house and soulful house. And
it's more mellow background
vibes. Exactly. Pattern as well. But there are certain things, like even there's some Amapiano, which I'm like, this is basically R&B. You know, like if you want to do like a soulful house song in a strictly soul set, we cool with that. You know,
we've had a couple DJs
R&B,
do that.
You know.
So touchdown Dar es Salaam. We're talking about, you know, reaction. And how.
So they're telling me it's not going to happen. So for now, I'm spending 2 years. They're saying it's not going to happen. All the club owners I know, and they respect me. It's not out of a lack of respect for me. It's out of a lack of respect for the concept. So finally, I got this one kid. He's in his mid-20s.
Okay.
At the time, I ran into him in Zanzibar. He was in Cape Town. He came to the party, and then once he came to the party in Cape Town, he's like, "Yo, I get it. I get it." So we bet on this kid. He brought us out there. First show. Again, they said it wasn't going to work. Marketed for about a month. We had the venue even decided, it's not going to work. 1 week before, they canceled us. We had to move to another venue.
All these odds, what still kept you pushing?
You believe in the vision.
Yeah, you know, and just the drive to like prove people wrong, I suppose. That's also something that hits with me. But first show, packed. Biggest party in the week. We owned the weekend. Every club owner was there at the party, and afterwards was like, "Yo, okay, you're right." Second show, and we made it free just for the first one. Second one, we're like, "All right, cool. We actually need to make a little bit of money off this. We're going to charge an entrance fee." They tell us can't do that in Dar es Salaam.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Tanzanians don't buy tickets.
They don't buy tickets. They don't pay at the door. Charge an entrance fee. 150 more people sold out, biggest party. You know what I'm saying? So then after that, even now we did pre-sold tickets for the party in Dar es Salaam. They said, "Yo, Tanzanians don't buy pre-sold tickets." Sold out pre-sold tickets, and it's been the same thing everywhere that we've gone. Like
have you done Nigeria?
No, that's in the near future.
Okay.
If it's, you know, we're assuming it's going to work here. If we can lock down Accra, then we'll look at Lagos. But we don't want to like get ahead of ourselves.
Okay. We'll drill down to where it's happening, when it's happening, and all of that in Accra soon. But so from Tanzania, Botswana, you mentioned other places.
Can I just add one more thing on the Dar es Salaam Tanzania thing?
Yeah.
After they said it wasn't going to work, after all the things that we did, they said don't expect.
Fighting us tooth and nail.
Yeah, Tanzanians won't do the R&B thing. After we left, now there's 25 R&B parties. All the people that said that it wasn't going to work, they all have their own R&B nights.
And even the venue that we used to be at,
and now they're doing
fighting the whole layouts, the everything.
Everything. They stole our photos.
But they used our photos to market their R&B events.
So how are you handling that? All the legal implications around some of these things. So it's fine. Just
to be honest, realistically, original concepts will always beat a bite.
Yeah.
Any day. Any day. You know, people can try, but everyone can sense when the passion, when the actual care for the concept is not there. So we're not worried. So we are focused forward.
Are you doing again in South Africa? Are you replicating this? Are you doing this again in the same countries again? Like, you know, because now I feel like you're coming to sting us, show us, and then run away.
No, don't run away.
It should be every 3 months in theory.
Yeah, so we aim to do 4 times a year in all of the territories that we establish ourselves in.
And one more thing, I just want to emphasize, like, you know, with all these other R&B parties, like we don't look at it as competition. We celebrate it. You know, like the more people that are doing R&B, like we look at a lot of these
the better it is for the culture.
Yeah, we look at it. We meet a lot of these other people, and
there you are.
There we are.
And a lot of these the people that start these parties come up and show love, and we even attend a lot of these parties if possible.
Absolutely.
So we love the culture.
Let me just hear the song that they're singing in the background in that video. 1 second. Let's just put it on. Timberlake performance recently, and I think I understand. Like, you see, there are low-key people who love these songs, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, crazy. Until you start singing or playing them, then you wonder, like, oh wow, I'm not alone. You know,
yes.
No one's gonna play that party at a club at 2 a.m. But it hits.
Yes,
it really does.
It's a vibe regardless. Yeah. Now I saw. I mean, I've been stalking your IG, so. I saw you have a few brand associations here and there. Now moving across markets. Are these territory exclusive partnerships? Like every time you go, let's say you're in Accra, are you bringing on board whatever business you've got from SA when you go to Tanzania? Is it like that, or you try and establish?
So that's one of the most difficult things about being like a multinational event, because like all the brands that we have, I won't mention, I'm sure we can't mention brands on air, but there's no continental office for any of these brands. Each region and sometimes each country has its own office
strategy.
So what we have to do is we try and keep consistency, because we don't like being brand whores. Like I'm not a big fan of like, in this country you're with this beer, in this country you're with this beer. And also from a marketing point of view, when you have to create different assets all the time, it's great when you can create one asset and it covers everything. So what we do is, like, the consistent partners that we have, we hit up their office several months in advance. We say we want to bring this event here. We give them first right of refusal, and then we have the brand manager in South Africa just touch base and be like, yo guys, we've invested a lot in this. We'd appreciate it if you'd consider it. And I'd say 9 times out of 10 we manage to maintain consistency, but it is difficult. You know, it's a new relationship with everybody. Everybody works with different terms. Some places are more experiential based. Some people are more sales based. Like figuring out what the relationship is and
how that affects your event.
And oftentimes it's, you know, kind of like a proof of concept thing again. You often have to have the first one.
Yeah.
And then the brand will hop on board.
They'll definitely say, let's see what you've done.
Let's see if this, you know, your concept is functional in this territory.
Market,
I love experiences. Which country so far, even before we come to Ghana, what we're expecting, which country so far has been the memorable one? That one that Chale, like...
We have the same answer.
Yeah, for me it's Kigali, Rwanda.
Kigali.
Yeah.
And it's so surprising because, you know, everyone tells us, you know, in Rwanda, people are, you know, reserved. They don't party. They're not going to be like the way they are. But that's a
bold move from you two, though.
Yeah. And, like, we love it. Like, the energy there is perfect.
How do you promote this, you know, in a terrain that you probably don't, you know, aren't used to understanding the plugs or who? Because it's fairly new. You may have 1 or 2 legs in there, but what's your strategy? entry into the countries?
So we always have a local team. We kind of reach out in advance. We get someone who kind of helps with the marketing. So we have a local team. Then obviously we push with social media as well. And a lot of times I'll go out kind of just as like in advance, meet people.
So this is why this is a second trip here.
Yeah. And then in addition, you know, we stand by our social media. Our social media is strong. Like one of the things that when we developed this event, usually before this, I always used to partner with DJs. When I started Strictly Soul, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to partner with like a good photographer and a good videographer. I want the assets to be good. So one of the things that we really try and emphasize is what you see on our social media is what you experience. There's never a time you're going to come to our party and be like, it's not like what it looks like on the social media. You know, we tell our photographer the POV must be like you're in the party, not like you're observing the party. So, you know, we always try and do that in advance. And, you know, once people kind of start seeing the social media, there tends to be a response, and then tickets generally go kind of quickly. So once things start selling out, we find on the day there's so much demand.
So let me just get into the business of this crazy feat that you're pulling off. Obviously it does, but does it make business sense to you? Investments and returns, flights, accommodation, and all those things that come into play.
I mean, it's an expensive endeavor, but people are willing to spend for a genuinely good time. I'm not talking like good time where it's the focus is drinking or how much you're spending or all of those things. It is about going out, meeting people, dancing, singing till your voice is gone, all of those things, the things that actually like make you feel a little bit alive. Those are the things people are willing.
Is this an African experience you're looking to, set up, or is likely to go outside, into Europe and into the country where they birthed that already?
For us, our focus is Africa for now. Europe and the US, they've got established R&B events and stuff like that. So for us, we're really focused on the continent. Maybe going slightly out east, possibly like Middle East or possibly Asia, but for the most part, it's very Africa based because we have more things that we want to do in terms of developing the genre and again pushing like the live artists and really elevating. So one example I can give is like when we started, we were more musically, we had to be more old school. So I was playing a lot of the new school stuff at the beginning of the set, but slowly working it to the end of the set. So now we've got the big new school joints at the end of the set. So like my personal goal is like right now I play local like South African R&B at the first set. My goal is like within a year I want to have that I can play modern South African R&B in the main set and have people going wild. So that's like our objective is to get African R&B like up there.
Are you in any way worried that DJs are taking over the party of artist performances at the concerts?
No. For me,
checking his bio, I'm like, okay, he's one of those people that is giving the artists a run for their money.
Yeah, but I mean, I think one of the things that we've learned about DJs is DJs have a lot of power to elevate the artist.
Yeah.
The DJ is always front and center at the party, and they have the power to kind of introduce people to music that they didn't know, and they didn't. And if you kind of cultivate a community that is willing to learn and willing to explore with us, then we have the power to push.
Do you involve artist performances in your, or strictly just come soak the music and then?
So we break it down into two things. We got our party and we got the live. So with the party, it's just a party, although we do like a small showcase. So at the end of the month, we always have a live performance with a local artist. So during one of the parties, they do a 60-second medley. And the main reason for that is like when the party's jumping, everyone's dancing. A lot of times people don't want to necessarily stop, hear a performance, and then get back into the party. So we try and keep it quick and punchy.
Yeah.
And then another thing is like, the way I look at it is, it's a party. Like the sound system we have is for DJs.
Okay.
If we had a rapper, that's cool. Rapper can get on, jump on the mic that's plugged into the mixer. He's gonna be all right. But for a singer, your voice is your currency. And I'm not gonna put a singer into a position where they're not gonna sound perfect. Because we can't have the audience walking away from a singer being like, oh man, their voice doesn't sound like,
sound like that MP3.
Yeah. So we want them to be, so whenever we do have live performances, like the amount of money that we invest into the sound system, the mics, everything is like, well, perfect,
Yeah.
Now moving across areas and having to keep
Basila, I was going to come to the country with the crazy experience. I'm just trying to remind you.
Is there any technical challenge moving across so many countries and having to meet that standard?
Of course.
Yeah, we travel, like I travel with my own mixer, we bring a mic, like, certain things, we've have had places where like just the sound hasn't been great, but it depends on, we have to just learn, go with a different supplier the next time, but I mean, bad sound is like, it kills my heart. You know.
Those speakers. Yes.
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like that's like the case with any like business. You know, you learn where the pain points are, and you figure out how to adjust it so that you are delivering a product or service at the level that you want.
So enough of the TV early morning talk. Now let's just drill down to the action. The real moments where you can't forget in some of the countries you've been. You know, we've spoken about Tanzania, we've spoken about Botswana. I want some experiences, you know, in this part, things you've seen, people going crazy. Any moments that you can recall in there?
I mean, there's lots that, you know,
they say when you go to Vegas, you keep what happens in Vegas in Vegas.
Well, we are not. Strictly Soul is nothing that you will regret.
Okay.
There's nothing. It's very wholesome. And it's very enjoyable. So there's nothing that we are shy to tell about. But, you know, I think recently when we were in Kigali, we had one of our DJs was playing a very local set.
Okay.
And the reaction to, what was that track? It was by a local artist. I have it on my Spotify. The reaction from the crowd was unbelievable. It was like the type of reaction that, you know, you might expect of maybe a Tyler song in South Africa. Just so passionate, so excited, so happy to hear their own music in their own.
We had another moment at that same party where they played like a new song that was a hit, and the artist was at our party. So then he came on stage. So now he's there listening to his music being played as Strictly Soul. And he was young, man, probably like 23, 24. Like he was like, you know, an emerging artist. So that was also like a really beautiful moment.
You guys have now become transporters of music. You know, you export and import music into various countries. Now, do you at any point in time see, there are some songs that are already massive hits across the world, so those ones you can put aside. But are there, like, maybe you dropped the South African rhythm in Tanzania and you were surprised at how people were just floating with it, or you dropped the, you know, a Rwandan rhythm, you know, in another country? Do you experience those things?
With South Africa music, we do. There's a couple songs that I generally pull out in the main set that are South African that go down, and every time I see it go down, I'm surprised. I'm just like, God, I didn't realize
these are like classics in South Africa that just apparently are classics everywhere
across the continent.
Does South Africa take over with Amapiano? It's a conversation that needs to be had. You know, we have to find a way of taxing South Africa.
To be honest, I think too much of a good thing is still too much, and I think that's what we're currently experiencing with Amapiano.
Since you are from South Africa, how do you feel about? I mean, it's fine, but not to create any mess here. But how do you feel with, example, how other countries take the Amapiano? I don't know, mention any country.
So I've got an opinion on that. So what I'll say is I'm cool with it.
Okay,
but you know, I know a lot of South Africans hate it. But this is the way I look at it. When Afrobeats was popping, South Africans were just stealing Afrobeats. We had South Africans doing Afrobeat songs with a Nigerian accent. You know what I'm saying? So my thing is, how are we going to be at this point now that Amapiano's popping and everyone else is taking? How are we going to like behave the same way?
What is the feeling like in South Africa? Do you guys feel like, hey, we are losing what is ours to other people, and they are now turning into other things? Other people are even now jamming more to it.
A lot of people do feel that way.
Some people do, but also South Africans, we will joke about anything. So for the most part, they'll make fun of it.
Vibes.
It'll be poking fun and saying stupid stuff.
Is it surprising to see how far Amapiano music is, you know, spreading across the continent and even outside the African continent? Did you ever expect this moment? Because it's been there for ages. I mean,
I believed in it from the beginning. I think that South Africa has always been really good at creating dance music, you know. And I felt like when Amapiano came out, I listened to it and I was like, yo, this is a much more refined version that I think it can catch on globally. And then once the Nigerians and the Afrobeat guys jumped on it as well, that just elevated it more, because then it went into the Afrobeat space. And if you remember, like 2016 to 2019, Afrobeats was dominating in the world. I was touring all over the world. I remember there's this one point when the Burna Boy album came out. I was playing in Berlin at this festival called Freak de la Freak, and at the beginning of before the show, it was all the DJs, and the promoter came up and was like, Akio, you're gonna get to play Burna Boy's Yeah tonight, and everyone else is like, damn. It was like a coronation moment. That's how big that song was, that he had to justify, he had to explain, no one else can play that song. It's going to go in this set. That's how big Afrobeat was. And then when Amapiano came in, it was a faster, dancier, version that was exportable to the world. So I'm not really surprised. And then now that you got Tyler, who's taken it from like kind of the authentic level to a more pop level, I think that it can definitely work. I think it's, in my opinion, it's peaked. But it's going to get bigger. But in terms of influence, I think it's already peaked.
To me, I see it kind of like trap music. Trap music, there's so many variations of trap music. Some of it, meh. A lot of it very good, and I think that's what we're looking at now. It's a very wide range.
So you see, we jealous Africans, we are glad to have certain institutions that are African that we can all hold on to, and it represents us, so that when we are fighting our global battles, we say this is from Africa. Don't come and take it. It's ours. Do you think we have milked all these music assets to its maximum, for the benefit of Africa? Amapiano, Afrobeats, you name them, all the other Kwaito and everything that belongs to, let me just say Africa, not necessarily South Africa, but it belongs to Africa. Do you think we've milked it, that much? Because now we have R&B parties being thrown in Africa. R&B, it wasn't really our thing, but of course we've taken it and we are milking it nicely. Have we milked ours? You've been around the world. You've seen how our music. Do you think there's more room, or we've peaked?
I think there's more room, and I think it's going to evolve more. I think that if you look at like what the evolution of Amapiano, things it's created, like 3-step, like all these other things. I think that if you look at, hip hop in America right now is down. I think earlier in the year they're saying it's the first time in the history of in like 20 years that there hasn't been a #1 hip hop song until Doja Cat came dropped a hit for like the first 6 months. Because people are looking outside of that, and a lot of that is coming from Africa. If you look at the Afrobeat, Amapiano, all of that type of stuff. So I think that the influence now is so big, it's just a matter of what comes next. I don't think that we're done. It's what's coming next.
Is it expensive? Is it expensive pursuing a genre like Amapiano, as it were with Afrobeats? The conversation around Afrobeats is become very expensive to be an Afrobeats artist because of some of the requests or some of the investment the labels make, in promoting the record. So if you are not having a machine to promote an Afrobeats record, you're most likely going to be under the bridge, right? And now there is the introduction of Amapiano, which in the last statistics that was released by music, what you may call it, professionals, say Amapiano is now the leading genre from Africa, right? But the question is it expensive doing a genre like that?
No.
From where you come from, which is the home of Amapiano, or so anybody gets a chance to be an Amapiano.
That's the beauty of Amapiano. So with Amapiano, it's kind of one of the things that sunk hip-hop in South Africa, because it was expensive to create a hip-hop album. It was only a few people. It was a lot of gatekeepers. What Amapiano did, what changed it was...
I'm sorry, when you say it was expensive to create, as in to market it?
Yeah, the albums, the producers, like the record
you could be a rapper, but creating an album...
A lot of gatekeepers.
Yeah. And most of the rappers in South Africa come from wealth. Almost all of them.
And also just paying the radio stations to play your stuff, all of that type of stuff that was necessary. What Amapiano did was, it took kids in the hood who had a computer, no record label, nothing. Yeah. And they were creating
almost
hits.
no resources, and very few barriers to entry for Amapiano.
And just another thing to keep in mind, then you have a platform that like exploded within the last 5-6 years, which is TikTok. And Amapiano is almost made perfect for TikTok. You know what I'm saying? With the dances, all the viral things that can happen. So it's getting to that point in South Africa where it's becoming more expensive because there's more record labels involved. Now there's people that have excelled, and now they're starting to gatekeep. But for the most part, Amapiano is still something for the people. Like, people, you can still be a nobody and create like one hit. You know what I'm saying?
What is it with genres coming out, being in the trends or being on top of the trends for 5 to 10 years, and then there's a conversation of gatekeeping?
Yeah.
You know, why is it that? Because I used to think it was just exclusive to those of us in the West.
Right.
You know, I mean, we've seen that with Afrobeats, we've seen that with, even our own Ghana, we've seen that with Hip Life. You know, we've seen that with High Life at some point. You know, so why is there a need for people to gatekeep? Because freely you received, and freely you should you should give. But for some reason, I used to think it was just for us in the West African region. But it looks like in South Africa, there's a same conversation about a genre becoming big, and people trying to make it more expensive for the younger one to take in. What's really the science behind that?
So I think it's a human nature thing. So as the genre grows, certain people are going to elevate. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And then at that point, let's say it's me. Let's say I'm a piano producer. Now I'm here. Now at some point, all the younger kids are going to come to me to help. So at some point, I'm going to create like my own clique, my own faction, but I'm also trying to benefit off of it as well. So if you look at like a lot of the songs, Amapiano songs, you'll have 15 artists on a track. Some of them didn't really even do anything on the track, but they're just on the track because the name gets the song out there, or that name gets them into the right circles. You know what I'm saying? So then at some point, that person is put in a situation where they can determine who rises, who falls, how much money can come. And I don't think it's a nefarious thing. I just think it's human nature to like kind of protect it. And then you have and then you have 1 or 2 or 3 people that do it. And then at the same time, like whoever else is involved, radio stations may now be like, all right, cool. There's a lot of Amapiano songs. If you want your song to get heavy rotation, you got to break us off, whatever. So I think anything that generates money, the people at the top are eventually going to figure out how to control it.
Has the genre has the genre Amapiano impacted the local music industry of South Africa?
Yeah. Like, so many people are making money off of it. It's like just
the economy of South Africa is booming. Because I'm asking this because the problem with Afrobeats is most of these songs are not owned by the creators of this music. The labels outside, Africa, the Sonys and the Def Jams and all. These are the ones who are owning the masters of these Afrobeats records. So when they make money, it doesn't come back to West Africa. It stays in America, and it's just the artists who may benefit of. Even with that, it would take a longer time. Exactly, it's just top of mind awareness within the region, but we have not seen the direct impact of investment back into the ecosystem or the infrastructure of the West African region. So I'm interested to know if Amapiano is experiencing.
We're seeing the benefits of Amapiano back in South Africa for South Africans.
Yes. So the way that I would explain it is this: like in South Africa, the way artists look at it is you're never looking to make money specifically off the music. Obviously, if you get a sync deal, your streaming numbers, but what you're doing is you're making your money off the performances.
Okay.
And what Amapiano has done before Amapiano, the only artists that were touring internationally, Black Coffee, maybe like a Shimza. There weren't a lot of like South African artists touring. Now, when you look at it now, everyone's gone. Uncle Waffles, Deborah Gogo, Tyler ICU, like even artists like smaller, the girls, TXC, they're out there. Like there's so many South African artists. Robot Boy's out here hosting. We had Teddy Goodfellas out there in Malta with us. He's just a host, you know what I'm saying, at a club in Cape Town. So you're seeing like the exporting of all these artists, especially in Dubai, and they're bringing that money back. So in terms of how much money they're making, I mean, someone's making money off the music. I can't say specifically.
But it's pennies on the dollar compared to everything else.
But I'm telling you, I guarantee you, Maporisa is making a lot of money on music. I guarantee you, Kabza de Small is making a lot of money specifically off the music. But the artists themselves, they're making a lot of money off the shows.
Touring.
So the economy is developing strangely. Okay. With the suffocation, low-key suffocation of hip-hop in South Africa, is hip-hop fighting back, or is this another traditional evolution? Because we've seen Kwaito, we've seen SA's had its errors, right?
Yeah.
And it's like none of the genres that fade out kind of make a comeback.
Yeah.
And if this is hip hop's, execution,
the execution of hip hop,
you know what I'm saying? Like, is there? Because from this side, we look up to South Africa.
Don't worry, we still have R&B and it's pop.
Yeah, it's close enough. I mean, we look up to. There's a reverence for South African hip hop. I mean, we've as far back as Zubs or Proverb.
Yes.
It's like, so we've been looking at South African hip hop for a long time. So, and it's pivotal for the impact of hip hop both in Nigeria and Ghana especially. But we don't know this is what's happening in South Africa. We are consuming Amapiano here while still actively creating a lot of hip hop in Ghana. I mean, there's a new rapper every week. All the boys are making it. We've got Ghanaian trap now and all these things. So hip hop is kind of on the rise here.
Nice.
Yeah, but that's a stepping stone that a lot of the pioneers here looked to the blueprint there. So I want to know the status really of what hip hop is like there now.
So there's a couple things like and I was like involved in the movement from even going back to 2009 to recent, and I think that it's down. But there's a couple reasons you have to look at it. One is we lost two of our biggest stars, Ricky Rick and AKA. And if you think about what their impact was, so in hip hop, to me, like, if you're a superstar rapper, it's two things. It's the music and it's the personality. More so than any other genre, the personality, who you are as a rapper, the aura. So we've got great rappers now, but they don't necessarily have that same Ricky Rick charisma. They don't have that AKA. But AKA was there on WWE wrestling, whatever. That's how big he was.
He was larger than life.
Yeah, he was a professional troll. You know what I'm saying? And I guess you can say Casper's kind of that, but Casper, you can't even classify him as a rapper anymore. He's just a musician. He's doing everything. AKA was always a rapper. Ricky Rick was a rapper, and we've got a lot of younger rappers that are doing well. You got the Nasty C's. You got Blackie. A Reese, but they're much more reserved. They don't have that AKA bigger than life. They're commanding it. They're making hip hop on this next level. So I do think hip hop is coming back. So even now, we had a second entity called Strictly Hip Hop. We haven't invested as much as we wanted into it, but now there are like hip hop parties coming back, and they're growing because people miss it.
People miss
what
it.
I'm saying? But I think it also reflects.
Yay.
But it reflects like the U.S. trends as well. And if you look at hip hop in America right now, like the only male rapper that's doing anything is Travis Scott. Everything else is all
It's
the
the
female
girls.
rappers that are killing
the
it.
girls,
So it just in general, hip hop, South Africa is down because hip hop in America is down.
The headquarters is down.
And Amapiano seems to be taking advantage of that, coming out the lane. Okay.
And they found R&B as a beautiful place to also, make that impact. And I love that. But let me just, before you start running down to the other questions, so what's going to happen in Ghana? Now you're here. We want to know where, when, how, who, what.
Cool.
Well, we are going to have it tomorrow.
Okay.
It's going to be at Barn Door.
Okay.
Starts at 7.
Okay. So that's 10.
No, y'all get there early. I promise you, it's so good. Experiencing the full night, because for us, we curate a full night, right?
Okay.
It starts off chill, like dinner service, and it's like nice and mellow.
You don't hear the same song twice.
You don't hear the same song twice, right? So we start off chilled, and then we build up to the party. Now we're twerking. Now we're sweating. Then we go into sing-alongs. Now we're losing our voice, right? And for you to have the full Strictly Soul experience, you gotta get there relatively early. I know it's like not cool to get places early, but I promise you, the experience is the experience. We built it the way we built it because that's the way it's supposed to be.
And this Ghanaians, y'all like to bar hop, right?
Yeah,
a bit. I remember that's one of the things I
Start with
learned
us.
about y'all. Like,
a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, even ending with us is good too. If you want to catch like the main thing. But like again, we're gonna play R&B across the board.
Okay.
Everything, from your neo soul, from your Erykah Badu to your Rihanna's, to your Thames, to even your Burna Boys. I'll even play some Fela Kuti in a set. Like, it really depends on what the crowd is with me. So I think that's one of the things that we want to emphasize is like one of the things that separates our party from everybody else is energy.
Okay.
I think if you look at it's not a chilled. It's not a slow jam R&B party. It's an intense energy, type of R&B party. So that's what I want to say. Like, come prepared to dance. We dance.
Is it open for the first one, or is it ticketed for the first one?
It's ticketed.
Okay.
We gotta cover the costs, but we made it extremely reasonable, man. We made the prices really, really reasonable. And again, like another thing is we love our millennials and Gen X's, but we also try and get a lot of Gen Z's as well. We try and get a lot of younger people. We try and make it accessible. And even like some of the things, we say we like to give you the things you like about the club without like the things you don't like about the club. So we got tables, but there's no like minimum spend. You know what I'm saying? If you book a table, you book a table. We're not going to say you got to spend $10,000 or something like that. Like our whole approach is we create a great experience. We focus on you having a good time, and you'll spend what you spend based on that. We shouldn't have to force you.
And we don't want to force. You know, I think a lot of club culture has gotten into like hyper focus on the big spenders, and like if you're not spending a lot.
Yeah,
a lot of the time they don't care about you. And for us, that's we would rather have a bunch of early 20-year-olds drinking one beer all night and screaming their voices gone throughout the night, and just really being a solid vibe.
Culture of what club used to be.
Exactly.
But it's now become so focused on the tables, big spend, the tables,
and
some
even,
clubs don't even have a dance floor anymore. It's just all tables.
It's just all sections.
Yes.
And for us, one of the things that we really pride ourselves on is our events are generally majority women. We're looking at like 65, 75%.
I was going to ask, I was scrolling through the page and I was like,
it's all honeys, right?
Sometimes it feels like 80%.
Sometimes it's like a crazy 8-to-2 ratio, right?
No, but you really cracked something. That's like a great demographic.
A lot of that is about making it comfortable, making it safe, making it, inviting for the people that we want. And, a lot of this kind of big spender focus tends to commodify women. The big spender wants all the bottles, all the attention, all the girls. For us, the girls are the target market. These are the people who we want to cater to.
I think R&B speaks more love, so we have more girls freely singing out loud than
absolutely.
To find a guy miming Joe Thomas, you look like, hey, my guy.
Well, so that's the thing. The guys,
it happens.
The guys are out there singing along as well.
Ego will kill us.
But I'll tell you, man. Like I've thought the same thing. But like when the moment comes, like all us guys, we've had sisters, we've had moms, we've had girlfriends. We know the music. And then once you've had a couple drinks and you start to feel it, it comes out. I've seen the hardest dudes singing along to the biggest Beyonce songs.
I came to work this morning listening to Case and Joe.
He's been doing R&B all morning. I don't know why. Was it because of the conversation or coincidental?
None of your business.
But it's also, this is the thing about R&B. R&B doesn't require you to put on like a tough front. It's not like hip hop where you have to be tough. Amapiano where you have to be like a dancer, you have to be full on vibes. No, R&B is just like be yourself, feel those emotions, sing along. Like it doesn't need.
And we've
to
all
be
been through those emotions. We've all been through breakup. We've all been in love. We've all been in lust. Like we've all been through those emotions. So let it out.
Let it out. Wow, you guys have cracked something really big.
I'm curious to find out though. You talked about how this product has found a number of counterfeits, if I may, in other countries or whatnot. But I'm also looking at how you impact the local industry when you go to these countries, right? So, for example, in Ghana, there is an R&B event, right? Rhythms of Branch or whatever.
Shout out to them. Yeah.
Shout out.
Great. Now, how are you guys going to work together? Or what are some of the conversations that are being had that after you are done and gone, there is an imprint that could sustain some of these cross-market conversations? Because I would love to see Rhythm and Branch also come to SA and partner with you guys and do an R&B event, because they have been the leading quote-unquote local product here.
For sure.
Right? So I'm always looking at how do we work together? From the south to the west, how do we come together?
There hasn't really been any conversation between the two brands. I think they were in Rwanda a similar time to when we were. That being said, like again, we don't own R&B. We don't pretend to own R&B. We champion R&B, and then we interpret it in a way. We deliver our product in a way that we feel is different than anybody else delivers it. So for our side, we're always open to collaborations.
Absolutely.
But it's a question you would also have to ask them: do they feel it's in their benefit to partner with us? Because at the same time, then it's like, would they feel that their brand is getting the acknowledgement that you want? Because the last thing you want to do is when you partner in something, you walk away feeling like one brand or the other gets more credit or is being amplified more. So, we're always open to it. We've done quite a few partnerships, across the board. So, I think for us finding our gap in the market, that's what we try and do. And again, we don't. I think we've looked into the brand a little bit, and what we try and do is very different from a musical point of view, and even the target that we do, and even just like avoiding the same venues and stuff. We're very cognizant of respecting
the local
IP
players,
and territorial integrity. So we never try and like jump onto that. So from our side, it's, you know, moving forward, if we help to elevate the scene in a way, then we feel like we're doing great. And from their side, like, we want them to succeed. We want them to get huge. Like, it's, if you look at, it's not that there can only be one.
It's so I guess we don't like to see people as competition, more like industry peers. We're all in this together, and everyone can eat. This isn't a pie where if I'm eating, you can't eat. Everyone can eat.
The only time it's competition is when they directly steal like our IP, like certain things that I'm just like, oh, okay.
There was an event that came up that was strictly R&B, and we had to reach out and be like, come on, you guys.
Just like other things, but even just other things. You know, my thing is like, if you want to develop an R&B event, like find your own like concept, and figure it out, and that's how you're gonna win. You know what I'm saying? So for those events, you know, a lot of times we show up and they show love. Like a lot of times we'll come and the promoters will come on and be like, yo, take care of us. Like, yo, thank you so much. Like we actually saw your event. You inspired us to do this. For us, it's, you know, it's always all love.
I noticed that the venue, the venue that you chose is more like an open air space. Is there a reason why you like that environment? Because I also saw a video prior when we had this conversation where it's like, you know, it's free space, free area. You did talk about tables, but I realized that you don't focus more on that part of the experience. Is it intentional to sell the idea that, you know, it's a free-spirited event, you know, just come through? And
so we have a specific layout that we use that we feel works for the type of event that we have. It doesn't necessarily have to be open air, but we found, so when I came here, I looked at like 7-8 different venues, but certain things didn't work out. Like, maybe it was segmented, so you could have 300 people, but only 100 people could see it, while 150 people were separated. So we want something. One of the rules I have is everybody must be able to see me, and I must be able to see everybody. That's the energy connection. You know what I'm saying? I don't want half the crowd in a different room, and they can hear the music. And sometimes people will be like, "Oh, but we'll put up screens," and I'm like, that's not the same. Like watching somebody on a screen when they right next to you. Like, why should you have to watch on a screen? You know?
I noticed that when I came for the Konye Festival, Shimzi's Festival. I mean, the deck or the riser was so high that everybody could see all the DJs that came through. You know, I don't know whether it's as part of the whole, you know, experience. But you keep saying you. Are you the only one going to be playing?
No, so we got 2 other DJs as well.
Local
Dennis
DJs.
and AD DJ as well. So 2 guys that I really like. I've checked out. AD actually came to Nairobi and saw our party there, and I saw Dennis at Aria. You know, played a really good set. So those are 2 guys that I'm really looking forward to.
Lovely. Well, brilliant.
If you just think it's only Ghana, no. Geneva is on the 16th and Windhoek is on the 22nd. Yes. So we are enjoying ours tomorrow.
Yes.
Thank you so very much. It's been great. We're looking forward to this crazy R&B party tomorrow. Again, the venue is
Barn Door Beer Garden.
Okay, awesome. So please, if in Yaniba Estate, right? Okay, all right, sure. So for those of us who this clearly shows that we are,
it's just around Treehouse, Aliba.
It's
exactly
right there. That space. Oh, that's just in one of my playing areas. So we'll pass to 7 o'clock. You say, right?
Starts at 7. I think it's warm-up sets, and then I think AD is going to come on 10 to 11, Dennis on 11 to 12, and I'll do midnight to close.
But you're going to do the opening set.
I'll do opening set. I love the opening set.
We'll tell our moms and our pops that we'll be home early. We'll be home early, so they should just wait for us. Hey, thank you so very much, Anita and Akio. We're looking forward to tomorrow. It's going to be a great event, and now I'm sure right afterwards, Sunday, you're probably out of town, or Monday. So let's learn for a while.
She's out Saturday. I'm supposed to be out Saturday. I might stay till Sunday. We'll see.
He's going to stay.
It's my mom's birthday on Monday, so I gotta make sure I'm back in time.
Okay. All right, great. All right, then. We'll still celebrate with you. All right, so take care. Thank you so much. We're looking forward to a good event, and I hope you've heard all the details for yourself as well. And we're back again same time tomorrow for a weekender here on Culture Daily, and we out.
Culture Daily was brought to you by Telecel.